All right, I just wanted to record watching matches, get my reaction in real time. I'm making a lot of pauses here. Uh, I'm gonna treat this as if you're an intermediate player, even if you are a beginner, just because I want to give you intermediate to advanced advice, because I feel like that's gonna help you improve. I don't think you're a true beginner, but I think kind of expecting more from you is what's going to help you improve a little bit faster. Um, Granted, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I make dozens of mistakes every single round, and I expect to see plenty of mistakes. But so don't take it too hard. Don't take it too personally. I am just going to nitpick everything, just because the more information that is thrown at you, the more you can just think about it and learn from it. So I'm just going to I'm going to pause occasionally whenever I see either a mistake or a question that I have. And the questions can be more rhetorical. I don't really expect you to answer them. But there should be questions that you should be asking yourself as well.
Believe in victory.
So the first thing that I do want to like bring up is matchup, right? Round start, Eustace should always be thinking. Well, Eustace should always be thinking at every single point in the game. There's very few scenarios where Eustace just goes unga bunga mode and turns his brain off. And that should be only when you're a true master of the character and you're already inside your opponent's head. Outside of that, even before the round starts, you should be thinking, well, what does Siegfried want, right? Far H, good button, right? He goes, far H 214 L 214 M, right? Gets plus frames. What is your game plan against Siegfried, right? Siegfried's pressure is solid. It's not perfect, but it's solid. What can you do to stop the pressure? Do you want to keep him away the whole game? Do you want to be in his face the whole game, right? Because if you're good at punishing his DP, then he's just going to explode. If you want to keep him away, we'll say, well, how are you going to keep him away? How are you going to cycle through your projectiles? This should be something you're thinking right now, and this is going to affect your very first move in this game. If you want to rush him down and you think that he's going to play a little aggressive, are you going to open up something crazy, right? Are you going to play defensive, see how he plays? Are you going to play proactively? These are just some things that you want to be thinking about. If this were me in this scenario, I would always think proactively. I don't know who my opponent is. I don't know what he knows about his character. I don't know what he knows about the matchup. So it is your job in the first, I want to say 15 to 20 seconds of the round to figure that out immediately. Just because Eustace is such a big knowledge check character, you want to know what your opponent doesn't know, and then use that to your advantage. So in this scenario, if I were you, again, without even seeing what you do in the beginning, I'm just going to down back. I'm either going to down back, or I'm going to neutral jump M, which is actually a pretty decent poke. And this allows the Siegfried to either run in, and you can punish a run in right with your jumping attack, or if you're holding down back, you see what he runs in with, how he staggers his pressure, and how you can defend against that. So these are all things that should be running through your head at the start of every match. As sets go on, as you go into round 2, round 3, game 2 of round 1, round 2, round 3, this style of thinking is going to change because you would already have figured your opponent out and you would have adjusted your round start to what you've already figured out.
Battle 1. Engage.
All right, that is not a bad opening. Okay, you burn regular, you burn medium. That is not a bad opening if you had already known what your opponent tends to do round start. Now, in this scenario, without slow kill, you have a hard time beating his jump in if you're throwing projectiles, because Eustace has pretty long recovery on his fireball, right? So now, if he rolls once and you even attempt to throw a projectile, he jumps in at you and he carries you to the corner and he eats 35% of your health, 35% of your health. So to play against this, you actually are forced to back up, right? You can't. You have to be careful with your projectiles now, right? Because you don't know what he's going to do now, and now you're kind of giving up ground. Again, this isn't a bad decision. I've done this very same round start plenty of times, but because this is round one, game one, you don't know what your opponent does. I guess, you kind of are sending a message like, hey, I'm not afraid to throw stuff at you, which will make him scared. But if he is somebody who just doesn't really tend to get scared, which people at a lower level around this at this rank, they're not scared at all, right? They'll just press buttons just for the sake of pressing buttons. What you did probably did not strike a lot of fear in him, especially since it didn't even connect on block, right? So that's just something that you want to be very conservative about, especially since Eustace values slow kill so much in pressure and anti-air combos. Now, for a handful of seconds, that is completely gone from his kit, right? He's a character that I believe needs to be very conservative with his EX, right? When you use EX, it should be for a definitive purpose. So you need to be thinking to yourself right there, like, well, specifically, why did I burn EX? What was EX going to do that the light version wasn't already going to do, right? Because, if you go back from right here, if he moves back like he did before, so the light version is going to go this way, and then it's going to come up above him, and it's going to whiff. But it's the light version, and you keep it back, and you keep it, right? If he walks forward, he gets hit. Now, you're not super plus, you're not going to get a combo off it, but you're never going to get the combo off of the EX from this distance on this round start anyways, right? So if you wanted to do something like, hey, I want to catch his jump, if I think he's going to immediately jump in, if that's something that you figured out about your character, then do the medium one, right? Because the medium one's going to come down, it's going to come up here, right? It has a better chance of hitting him, right? Even if he air blocks it, you should recover enough, depending on how high it hits him, it connects with him, to maybe get like 5M, right? And 5M after he air blocks will be an unblockable, right? And then you can get like a little follow up right there. So now in that situation, that would make him scared, right? That's going to make him scared a lot. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to jump in at all because if I jump in and I press a button, I'm going to get counter hit comboed. If I jump in and he hits me with that projectile, I'm stuck in block, and then now I'm going to be unblockable anyways, and he's going to be scared to jump entirely, right? So this is just something that needs to be going through your head, like, why are you burning the EX? Eustace values all of his projectiles so much. He even, values all of his specials so much to a degree that not having one of them for just a couple of seconds can be a game ender from the round start, right? Because if the Siegfried wants to and he runs in at you and he jumps in at you and you just miss a 2H, you're toast, right? Or even if you get a 2H and you're not really familiar with the 214 or L stop combo, you didn't really get much off of it. You didn't get the corner carry off of it. He comes in, he's feeling crazy. He wants to press buttons, and then now he drags you to the corner, and now you're stuck, right? Eustace in the corner is stuck because he doesn't have his DP, right? And in that scenario, you wouldn't have 50 bar yet, and even if you did have 50 bar, like, it's still risky to use because Siegfried has buttons that do a lot of what Eustace does, right? Plays them at a distance, right? So this is why, at a higher level, this is what you need to be thinking about, and when you get better, is why are you doing what you're doing? You need to be thinking about every single movement you're making, every single decision you're making has to be with purpose. When you play with purpose, you're going to get better a lot quicker. So just think to yourself, why do I want to burn this EX? Because I think if I'm trying to like guess why you burn that EX right there, it's because you probably want to hit him in a surprise way. But again, even if you hit him and you surprise him that way, you weren't going to gain much off of it. So the risk reward is not in your favor at all. If you're going to use slow kill at round start, which again I've used it hundreds of times on round start, I would go with light or medium. I would refrain from using EX unless you think if this was like Gran, right, and he likes to use like EX boot on you on round start, like Gran players like to do sometimes, then sure, match him, right? Like, say I don't care about burning my EX if you're going to burn yours, but in this scenario, especially like I said, first round, first game, I feel like this could have been thought out a little bit better.
Battle 1. Engage.
All right. Just I'm not gonna say spend as long as I did with the other explanation, but if you're gonna use 2U like that, you don't want to get blown up. Either spot dodge if you don't want to go into a special, throw your grenade, throw a special out, because sweep is very minus in this game, and he could have easily, 2M'd into his what is it, 2-2H or whatever that is, where he does like the little the spin slash almost. He could have done a lot of things right there, and then got in your face, and then now you're in strike throw where he can take the cornerback, right? So if you're going to use sweep like that, commit to either spot dodge or a special. You rarely want to just raw sweep. Okay, you gave up corner, right? Despite a weird round start, you got what you wanted. You got what Eustace needed and wants in every single game, is just to control the corner, right? So you got there, right? You scared him. You backed him up. Here's the corner, and you're not like you didn't do anything with it, right? And then you end up just backing off. Yeah, you just backed away, and you just backed off. So I like to make fighting games into like a football analogy, right? If one side of the corner is your opponent's end zone, and the other side of the corner is your end zone, you want to be as close to scoring a touchdown, and you want them to be on their 1 yard line as much as possible, because in football, if you're trying to get onto the offensive, when you're on the 1 yard line, there's not much you can do. If you take even a medium risk move, in football, you're risking a safety or a pick six or anything like that. Same goes true with fighting games, right? In a fighting game, if he had tried to jump out at you when you were in this position right here, if he this is perfect spacing right here. This is where Eustace wants to be. Maybe a little bit back, depending on the matchup. But this is the area that Eustace wants to be, right? Because it beats his jump arc, right? If he jumps out, he's going to come this way, and boom, you counter hit combo him. Or at the very worst, you can get EX slow kill and get a full combo, right? If he super jumps, you're far enough away to kind of like maybe backdash and then catch the super jump. There's a lot of things you can do in this scenario, right? You're far enough away to start charging slow kill, and then he's like has to hesitate before pressing a button against you, and then the slow kill gets you plus frames. You can run in. There's so much that Eustace can do in this scenario, and you kind of just let it slip away. This is something that you would need to learn how to control. How can I stay in this position for absolutely as long as possible? And the answer is utilizing your specials. Look, see what happened when you burn EX slow kill? You were still able to get the corner, right? Because you scared him into the corner, and you can't even use it. This is your best lockdown tool, and because you opened up with it, you can't use it, right? Now, it's only about a quarter of a second away from being back, but right here is when it should be used. And you couldn't, right? And this gave him a split second to react and find a way out. So if I were you in this scenario, and if I didn't have this, I would probably want to, maybe space my gun, maybe like make my fireballs out here. Maybe do like a charged medium fireball, because if he presses, it counter hits and you can get like a decent pickup off of it. Maybe throw a medium grenade to kind of keep him locked down. Like medium grenade jump in, right? So it keeps him scared because he doesn't want to get hit by the second hit of grenade. So you get a free jump in, and that gives you enough time to recharge the slow kill. But giving up corner, again, assuming you lose this round, this is the reason why. You've pretty much won this game in 10 seconds. Even if you didn't win the game or won the round, you pretty much, in this scenario, at the very worst, could have chipped him down to, maybe down to about 70%, through just pressure and pokes alone. You could probably chip him between 70 and 60%. And that's huge, right? Especially in such a high damage games, which from in that scenario, once you get super, you have a super combo ready and he's gone, right? So you never want to give this up. Now, when you're facing a better opponent, you really want to have a strong knowledge of your projectiles because they'll find that space to get out, and it is your job right now that you're a beginner level Eustace player to get comfortable with just keeping them locked down and the scenarios in which they can get out and how to prevent those scenarios from happening. Okay, you burn the EXL kill again. All right, I'm not going to go too much in depth in that. All right, just make sure you're thinking about what you're doing. You did 2L, or you did 2U, 214M, and then you got the hit, and then you didn't follow up with sweep for plus frames or uppercut for damage, right, and a knockdown. That's just something you want to react to. I'm gonna put it towards just unfamiliarity with the character, just something to get used to. Just make sure that when you get that hit, especially something as easy to react to as 214M, you commit to that, get that end it with that uppercut, right? Yeah. Okay, learn your conversions. This was big. You had meter, and he's at what 60% health, right? Right here, he's almost dead. Right, he's almost dead right here. You hit him crouching with a jump in heavy. Even if you just did light auto combo right here, you did 2L, and say you're bad at confirming it, you can still do 2L and then light auto combo, and then he's crouching. You get EX grenade, you get 2M, 214M, ML, 214ML, right? 5H, 214HH, right? And then he's in the corner. You get 5H again, or you get 5M and fireball, and then you can either burn the super with 5H super, or you can do anything else. But just because not having that knowledge, see like you not only do you let him out the corner, not having that knowledge, pretty much lost you a borderline kill. If you had landed a combo like that, which I know again it's more advanced and you're getting used to your combos, but if you had just been more knowledgeable of your, just been more aware, this round would have just been over at that point. You probably would have gone down to about 15% with a combo like that, and at that point you would have had your slow kill back, and you could have just kept him locked down in the corner, and then you kind of just want to space out like his super, maybe bait something out. He was pretty much done, especially since you're at 90%. Be careful with this. It is a little bit easier to punish lights in this game, but jab is for the most part safe, even if you're mashing super and he just early jabs out, just because the super startups are not as fast as people think they are. If he jabs like the way he did, he is always safe as long as he's not mashing. Just be careful, especially if you wanted to get out of pressure, I would have just done DP, right? DP burns 50 bar. If you hit it, you get 25 of your bar back, and now you're at 75 bar, and you pretty much do what you were aiming to do, and it was just get him out of your face. If you burn super, no matter what, you burn the 100 bar, and if you blocked it, you're in for the same punishment, right? So you want to think of risk reward, right? DP was better here, just because no matter what, if you're gonna land the super, or if you're gonna land DP, it was gonna get you out of your. You were gonna get him out of your face. If he had blocked both of them, you were still gonna get punished basically the same way. But at the very least, you would have kept some of your meter. You would have done more damage to him with the super, but you should have done that damage earlier, right? I'm not going to put too much on you. Again, it's a lot of just knowledge and getting used to it, but it's just something that you know, for defense, right? For defensive purposes, right? Not only did you burn super right here, now he's going to punish you, get a knockdown. Even if you had blocked the first DP, you could have DP'd again, right? Now you have nothing at your disposal. This is such a huge part of like Eustace's like defensive philosophy now in this game, right? Now that he actually has a defensive out, right? Before it was overdrive, but overdrive wasn't that good because it was reactable. But now that Eustace has a defensive out, but Eustace makes really good use of meter. It's like, how do I want to use this meter, right? And the big thing is, if you burn it on super like this, especially if you're at 90%, right? If you were 80%, right? If you were lower, then sure, I would say cool. Let's see if we can justify it. Since you're so high, you're not like in any sort of danger of dying. So burning this much meter to get someone out of your face at a 50-50 risk is it's ill-advised, in my opinion. That was a very bad punish for him, so you lucked out, but that is something that you just have to think about. You have to think about. I don't know why I did that. Oh no, he's dead. I'm actually gonna go back. Be careful with this. It worked on him because he's slow. It will not work on 95% of people. This is very dangerous. If he had just clicked 5M, you were dead. And there is no arguing that. This will not work going forward. Lucky for you, it did work. Just be careful. You don't want to build any sort of bad habits. That's why I'm going to lecture you on everything right now. I want to show you what your bad habits are so that you don't continue to utilize them in your arsenal, right? So that when you are better and you are landing combos with Eustace and winning games, off of combos and things like that, and you get to a higher rank, people are going to blow you up for bad habits rather than combos. All right, so I just want to tell you right now, rolling out of the corner like this, especially against Siegfried, who just shits out damage, this is something that you just need to be very, very careful about unless you are absolutely sure the roll is going to work. Again, I make roll mistakes all the time. I just want to point out this was a very, very scary decision from you, right? So just something to think about. Right here, again, if you had known, the crouching combo, even if you didn't do the crouching combo, you can do like EX shot into another auto combo into grenade. On crouching is Eustace's strong suit. Grenade, grenade, grenade every single time when you have an on crouch auto combo. There should be absolutely no exception outside of if you don't have grenade, or if you want to do a slightly better optimal. You do EX shot and then another auto combo, medium auto combo, and then you would do the grenade, and then you do like a different route. There should be no excuse going forward why you miss out on auto combo on crouch into grenade. That is the pivotal part of Eustace's game plan. This is something that you should be burning into your memory. Get this down. Like this, I cannot stress that enough. If you're playing such a combo stylish character, you should want to get his grenade combos anyways, right? That should be like your incentive, right? You want to pull off the cool fancy combos. But the big incentive is his damage, right? You are not going to get the damage you want unless you understand scenarios like this. I'm not saying do the optimal, right? I don't do the optimal half the time because sometimes the optimal is either too hard or it's not what I want for a specific scenario for whatever reason. So I'm not telling you to do the optimal route, right? But you need to know when to recognize when they are crouching. This is the biggest part of his damage next to his anti-airs. And it is something that like is inexcusable. You should be focusing on recognizing that every single time. If you go 10 games and you miss it 3 or 4 times, I guarantee you probably lost those 3 or 4 rounds, right? It's so pivotal because right here he is dead from a light auto. If you know the routes, you can build that 34 meter, right, pretty easily. And he is dead. Like there is no question, he's gone. But because you didn't know the routes, right, is again lack of knowledge. Again, I'm not going to blame you for not knowing, but it's something that you should strive to get to know. I've given as much resources as I can. I'm going to continue giving you resources. Something that you need to do is just recognize these situations. Yeah. See, if you had done any single one of the things I told you, to, I explained, just one. The combo, the pressure in the corner, having slow kill in your kit when it's not on cooldown. There is no scenario where the Siegfried wins this round. None. Like that. Like Eustace, you could have beat him every single time if you had just not made even one of those mistakes, right? And this is kind of the focal point of Eustace's struggles, right? Is one mistake can cost you everything. You made a lot, right? And you were better than him at neutral for the most part, right? And so you actually got away with a couple mistakes, but it was just one too many, right? And that's what lost you the round.
Battle 2. Engage.
Oh, I want to back up. Right there, you backed up. If you were directly in the corner, you could backdash. You were in again. It's a lot about recognition. Look at this is exactly if you look at like where you were right here. This is exactly where you were 10 seconds into the first round. This is where you want to be, and you backed up. Right here, this is where you start charging your slow kill. This is where you get up a grenade, like light grenade to slow kill, something like that. This understanding your spacing, right? You have everything up, so use it, right? Like you use his fast recharge times on his non-EX specials to start making his life a living hell, right? That is like what you want to do in any fighting game, right? Don't let him get up easily, right? You backed away too much. Like I'm not saying backing away is not bad, right? He likes to back away so he can get like his meaty slow kill, but a little bit. But you backed away too much and you let him stand up for free. In a fighting game, in any fighting game, you never want to do that unless you're a pure zoner. And even when you're a pure zoner, sometimes you set traps or whatever the case may be, because you want to make sure that you want to punish your opponent for getting knocked down. You want to make their life hell. And the way to make their life hell is just by doing something. Right here, you did nothing. Right, you wasted an opportunity for pressure, for damage, and if I'm the Siegfried player right here and I see you backing away again from the corner, I'm going to think that you are not confident with your character, that you are probably scared of me, and for the rest of the set, I'm not going to respect anything you do, and I'm going to make sure that if you even attempt to do something, because of you're backing off and you're scared, it's probably through a lack of knowledge, and I'm going to probably interrupt it. I'm just going to press jab, and I'm probably going to interrupt everything you do. This is the worst nightmare of a Eustace player, right? Is when your opponent is not scared, because Eustace thrives off fear. If I'm a Siegfried, I am no longer scared of you, and effectively I've just won the set because of that. So just make sure that you are doubling down on your pressure. Don't be afraid to be aggressive, especially when you're learning, right? I learned Tekken from people who say, I learned Tekken a certain way, where I learned Tekken how to play defense and offense together, and a lot of Tekken players were telling me that I'm learning the hard way, and they were actually right. Like new players for every game, they like to just press buttons and they like to be offensive. That is something that you should try to just do. Figure out what you can do and figure out what you can't do, and just don't be afraid. Like right now, you're in a stage of learning where you should just fuck around with the character, and if something doesn't work, try it 3 more times to make sure that, like, hey, like, this didn't work, but did it work for a specific reason, for specific timing? Like, no, you want to make sure something doesn't work, right? And if something doesn't work, figure out, well, why doesn't it work, and how can I make it work? Right here, I think you're too worried about you're too worried about doing the wrong thing, and so instead you do nothing. And in my opinion, doing nothing in a learning process is worse than doing the wrong thing, because you're not going to learn anything from it. Because in this scenario, you didn't learn anything. You're not learning if he's someone who likes to mash on wake up, buttons on wake up. You don't know if he likes to DP on wake up. You don't know how he likes to block. You don't know how patient he gets when he's in pressure. You're learning nothing about your opponent, and that's what fighting games are. It's more learning your opponent rather than learning the character matchup. And so he pretty much has all these cards close to his chest, and all he's seeing from you is, I'm scared, I don't want to do anything, right? And so my biggest take right here is just do something, and just don't be afraid, right? I know you don't want to lose. I know losing feels really bad in a fighting game, but don't be afraid to lose. Because if he had done something right here, and if he had mashed out, I still would have said, hey, you know what, this was wrong, but it was a knowledge thing, and I'm not going to harp you too bad for that, right? This is more of a fundamental thing that you did wrong. You're allowing your opponent freedom. This is not, there is no fighting game where you want that to be the case. Yeah. Solid one. Learn your frame data. You should be learning your frame data of your specials, so you know that what you're plus on, what you can do. They changed it. If you played Grambley versus 2L and 5L were both +1 on block, and then far L was minus on block, -1, -2. It's actually the opposite now, or 5L is actually super plus on block now. 2L is -2 on block. You can still chain these two together if you want to do 2L, 2L. But you did 2L, 2L, far H. If he was mashing after your second 2L, you get counter hit. That is something that, again, I'm not going to blame you entirely for. Learn the frame data, the universal frame data of buttons, because in Granblue Versus, what you did here was correct. In this game, it was incorrect. Now it still led to a hit, but against someone like myself or anyone more knowledgeable about the game, they never would have gotten hit by that, and they might have been able to hit you out of it, and they actually take their turn back, right? So. Just a little thing right there. Learn your frame data. Cool. My only thing is I want to see you use maybe 2 and 4 LM a little bit more. Right now you're kind of letting him walk up sometimes, do a little something. Don't be afraid to get in his face. It's a sweep, so he has to block low. So even if he's backing up, you catch him trying to walk away. Like don't be afraid to mix stuff like that in there. And like I said, Eustace wants to be a character who's in your face, but in a more passive way. Make your way closer to him, right? I'm not saying you can't zone him out if you don't want to, if that's what you feel is best for you in that specific player matchup. But you want the threat of things to be there, right? You want him to hold down back so he doesn't move when he's blocking. If he's holding back, he's gonna move and react and control space and things like that.
Battle 3. Engage.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. You burned ultimate slow kill into ultimate Flameck Thunder. Again, not bad if you thought he was planning on running forward, he ended up jumping instead. Again, that's just the danger of the game when you play around your projectiles like that. So it wasn't necessarily a bad decision. It was just the wrong one for the moment. But just know that again, the philosophy of Eustace's defense. You use 2 of them. You were going to use 2 of them regardless. Now you don't have a DP, right? And now you're in the corner. So this is where it gets scary, right? And so keep that in mind, right? Keep your defense in mind, because if you're gonna fall apart on defense, you will never improve, right? You want to make a good player is fundamentally sound on defense first and foremost before any sort of offense. And so if you just keep something like that in mind, that right there is just gonna shoot your defense above a lot of players at your level, right? Because a lot of players at your level aren't thinking about things like that. They aren't thinking about all their options, and you want to weigh all your options at all points of the game.
Great.
Good job recognizing the heavy fireball. I think this is really good. This is a lot of what Eustace's strong suit is. Eustace actually deals with this fireball really well compared to the rest of the cast. I mean, this thing is just a wall that just is unstoppable. Because he can pierce, it pretty much forces Siegfried to almost never use it, right? So this is actually a really good recognition by you. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of just you balancing your gameplay and adjusting yourself to the character matchup and the player matchup at the same time. Because this won you the game. Now, granted, again, prior you weren't. I mean, you could have killed like 4 times because you didn't understand the combos. Again, that's fine. Just learn them over time. But this right here, obviously, you made the objectively correct decision right here in a split second, right? Because it was about to hit you, and you won the round for it. And I believe the game, right? Yes. So this is a good job.
実戦と訓練そういうことしお前は Believe in victory. Battle 1. Engage.
I like this opening. This is literally what I was telling you first round, first game, right? When you said use EX slow kill, you learned, you pretty much conditioned, right? Or you kind of learned that, hey, he's just gonna back off. I'm not gonna use EX slow kill, and so instead you're like, I'm just gonna dash at him, and you did the safe thing too. Like I dashed at him. You're not that good at reacting to 214M on hit. That's perfectly fine. It's not that easy of a thing to react to, right? So you press U after, right? So on hit, you get U, boom, you're spaced away this way, you get a little bit of chip damage, boom. On block, it would have been the same thing, right? Unless and it would have beat his DP unless he clicked EX, right? This is a really good round start from you, right? Like you adjusted, right? You saw that he likes to back away, so you're like, hey, I'm not gonna let you back away. I'm gonna run at you. Yeah, this is gonna happen. Siegfried, I'm surprised he did it right here. He hasn't really done this all game. Granted, you haven't really ran up to him like this all game, so he probably thought that was something that is very unfamiliar. So this is why you kind of want to run up block, run up spot dodge, things like that. So like pressure him sometimes, don't pressure him other times. This is something you just kind of want to just do. It varies from game to game, things like that. But yeah, I feel like running blocked, boom, like the round was pretty much over at that point, even if you just comboed him. Sweep. You can punish sweep with your own sweep. You can punish. So I think a good punish for you, universally for sweep is 2U, 214MH, right? Standard. You can do 2M if you want a button that's a little bit faster. Just punish sweeps. Right here, so you tried using EX slow kill on reaction. You can't. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not saying that like it's a skill thing. EX slow kill cannot really be used on reaction to a normal jump in. You can only use it really on reaction if you're trying to punish like Bubs' dive or like Avatar Belial's like fly or something like that. Because those like wait like a split second for you to do be able to input EX slow kill. Regular jump ins are too fast. If you I'm not saying you can't do it, but if this is something that you want to do, this is something that it's more of a call out, right? You want to do it preemptively, just because it's not fast enough to just be a straight up anti-air. That's why you want to get used to 2Hing.
Great.
Alright, combos. Go to the lab. Go to the lab. Study your frame data. EX slow kill from that range, uncharged, is -2. That's why when you see the videos that I posted about doing like your EX slow kill pressure, when you do 2U EX slow kill, you're from a distance, right? And that distance gives you just it makes them hit just meaty enough so that you're at least 0, but you could also be as much as +1, right? Uncharged. If they're charged, yeah, like you're gonna get a billion frames, right? So right there, you got hit and you lost corner just purely off of character knowledge. This is a good punish, by the way. I really like that punish. You're kind of getting used to the basic combos, so I really like that. Like right there, like from that distance, from auto combo, one of two things either happen. He either knows the frame data, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I doubt, or he's a masher, right? Who mashed out, because most people who don't know frame data should know that EX should be plus, right? For most characters in most situations, right? In this scenario, it's not, and I feel like he didn't know that. He should have been scared not to press, but I think he pressed just because he's someone who mashes. This is something that I would have figured out in this situation. So going forward, either use it to figure out if people are pressing after it, or try to space it at a distance. Because that was, see, again, same scenario right now. You're out of slow kill and you lose the corner, and now we don't know where the game's going to go from here. Whereas before, up until this very moment, you were in prime position to win the round. Oh no. Oh, he's bad. Oh my god. That was a tricky scenario. Just I mean, that was a good DP. I mean, I wouldn't have DP'd right there just because he had stopped auto comboing, and I thought he was just gonna hesitate for a second, but I guess you knew something that I didn't, so.
Battle 2. Engage.
Look, this is how you know he's a masher, right? And see, I was correct, right, in the scenario, right? So in that other round, you threw medium grenade and ran up, and he EXCP'd, and I'm like, okay, he could be mashing, he also just could be scared, so it's like, all right, what kind of player is he? And then I told you, right, after the EX slow kill on block, that he kind of just took his turn back, even though, like, as somebody who shouldn't have knowledge of your character's frame data, wouldn't have like really wanted to take their turn back in that scenario because they're back to the corner, they don't want to lose the game. And I said, you know what, he's probably just a masher. Right there, that proved it, right? And this is where look at that. Boom. Look at this scenario. You're able to. I wouldn't. You double tap H a lot, by the way. If H a lot, don't do that. I would say throw another grenade. Throw just even an uncharged slow kill from this range. You kind of just like you not really give your turn back, but it pushes you so far away that it's hard to do anything else without like a raw projectile, which is pretty committal. But right here, like he thinks you're gonna do something again, and you're not even close to him, right? So this is how I know he's mashing, right? I figured this out, 30 seconds ago, and so he pretty much proved it right here, right? And so that's why I'm telling you, I'm trying to teach you how to think, right? What could be going into through the mind of your opponent. I know that's more of a fundamental thing, and I know that you're kind of more looking at learning about Eustace in particular. But what Eustace in particular is somebody who needs to be in the mind of his opponent for him to be the most effective, right? Some characters can kind of just go stupid mode and do whatever they want and just mash buttons. Eustace is not that character, right? So you want to get into the habit of being in the mind of your opponent and what they want to do and what they have tendencies to do and exploiting those tendencies. If you had known that if you had figured out at this point that he was mashing, that he was somebody who liked to mashes, then he eats like 60% right here. But a combination of the far H and everything else like that, like it pushes you far enough away. But I mean, you still get to maintain corner. In this scenario, he burns EXCP, so I expect you to kind of keep the pressure going a lot more, just because he can't reversal anymore. Yeah, see, and you give up corner again, right? Like he doesn't have DP. Like you should not be afraid of him anymore. When characters in this game burn DP or burn their parry or whatever they have in their kit, that is Eustace's go ahead. Like, hey, like I'm just gonna start throwing stuff at you. I'm gonna start going at it, and if you press, you die. That is like why, like, he's always struggled in Grand Blue Versus, right? He didn't have a DP, and some characters didn't want to deal with his bullshit, and so they would just DP through it when they see like something that they can reversal on. and then it kind of just stops him, right? That's why he kind of struggled, and that's why he has to play so smart. In the scenario, Siegfried wasted his DP, so now there is no reason at all you should be backing away. Go for it. Go for it. Until that DP comes back, make sure that you are taking advantage of all the pressure and all of your resources. Again, yeah, be careful with that. Oh, good reaction. Yeah. He's gonna fish for it, probably. Yeah.
Battle 3. Engage.
Nice. Why did you elect to do that? I'm curious. I mean, again, it worked, but it also could have just ended so much more. It could have ended very badly, right? Like so. In that scenario, you should always just block, unless you see him running up at you and you want to feel crazy. But that is like a DP that I don't know if I can justify any sort of line of reasoning. You just got lucky at that point. This is scenarios where you want light grenade, right? He's trying to close the gap on you by doing little jumps and in particular rolls. Light grenade will punish that. Good DP. Good DP bait. Good DP bait. I am going to give you full props for that one. It was pretty obvious, right? Like, you DP'd, right? And so it's kind of like it's the hive mind effect, right? It's contagious, right? I want to, I DP, so my opponent's probably going to want DP, right? Or I jump, my opponent's probably going to want to jump, right? It's a legitimate strategy that is used at higher levels, more mid levels, I would say, but it's a strategy that fucks with people, right? You DP'd, and then he's already low health, and he's scared. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna DP, right? And he burned EXTP before, right? And it didn't allow him, it forced him, to not use it for a while. So right there, he didn't even burn EXTP. Like he was thinking, like, I'm gonna do it. Like that was something where, like, he wasn't even trying to react to anything you did. He was like, I'm just gonna do it, right? If he was trying to react, he would have burned EX. So I'm really happy that you were able to react to that, right? That is really smart. I like to see strides like that. I like to see decisions like that. So good job overall in this round. Just look out for those things. Don't be afraid to pressure. Don't be afraid of your opponent when you're learning a character, when you're trying to learn the game. And just practice. Become more knowledgeable. Again, recognition, right? Recognize that you have corner. Recognize your spacing. Recognize the hits that you're getting, and what they can lead to, um, and all that. As you slowly start to build that up, you would look back at this match, right? After you've forgotten about it, you haven't really looked at it for a while, and you would have seen everything that I just told you today, and you would see more, right? Um, and that's what you want, right? You want to look back at your old games and be like, wow, like I was really that bad, just because we were all like that at one point. And so you want to shock yourself with your improvement, because I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna feel like you've improved. That's something that like doesn't really happen, because fighting games is such an individualized thing, that it's all on you, and it's like your journey alone. Um, and um, and so it feels very easy to be discouraged. So I would look back at your replays, look back at videos like this, um, maybe every other week, and see and compare it to like maybe a more recent game that you've played, and you'll start to notice that, like, hey, yeah, I pressure a little bit more. I've learned a little bit more of my routes. I'm less afraid. I'm better at baiting, things like that. Um, and you'll see like a night and day difference. It'll look like two completely different Uses players. Um, even if it's just like 1 week apart, right? If you just start to slowly, slowly, slowly implement these things. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Remember, I'm always here if you need anything.